So before the talk, I'd like to introduce myself a bit. I'm Miley Chen. I was doing Europe Mobile BD Lead at NetEase from 2014 and 2018. By end of last year, I joined Tencent doing strategy at the ACE publishing program here. And ACE is short for Amazing, Creative, Explorative, and the program mainly looking for innovative mobile games from the West and the non-Chinese games to publish in China. So today I'm going to talk about the Chinese mobile market. And I will start with go through some general market stats, talk about the distribution in China, who are the main players in China, what kind of games are top grossing, and for small companies, what are the opportunities, and in the future, what kind of games have potential to go big. So, general market stats. First, the segment breakdown of Chinese games revenues. So from the chart, we can see that the mobile is the dominant platform in China. That in 2018, mobile in China took 60.28%. And browser games are going slightly decreasing. It's a light blue one. And then PC is a bit more stable in China, which is actually very different from the Western market or the global market in general. We can see in the yellow chart, which is the global data from Newzoo in 2018, which mobile took 44%, console 31%, and PC 22%. But in China, you can see the console share in the blue chart, because console in China, even both console and Switch, the total share is less than 1% in China. So definitely, when we talk about the Chinese game market, mobile is dominant. And mobile games revenue growth in China, so we can see that the total revenue in 2018, mobile revenues in China totally hits 23.5 billion US dollars. The number growth almost 10 times bigger from compared to the revenue in 2013, which is just 5 years. The revenue grows 10 times. And we can also see that in the upcoming years, the mobile growth rate is just more stable. And one of the reasons are because, first, the Chinese mobile market nowadays are very consolidated. So the big players, they have the top grossing games staying on the charts. And secondly, lots of the games are waiting for the government approval. And third, it's because the diminishment of the geographic dividend. So the diminishment of the geographic diminishment, the mobile game users growth is also, we can see the chart is very similar from the mobile games revenue. It have a fast growth from 2013 to 2017, and then it becomes growing more stably. And it's mainly because the young generation who are born for the one-child policy, lots of the players, they already grow up. But the next generation, young people, they are less willing to give birth. So it's growing more stable. And next, who are the key players in China? Tencent took more than 0.5%, 52.25% in the Chinese mobile market share in total, including Tencent self-developed games and also lots of third-party published games. And then NetEase took 14.96%, and 37 games, 6.48%. And then the rest of the top 10 Chinese game companies, it's Perfectwell, Bilibili, Zilong Games, Happy Element, CNG, Kunlun, and iDream Sky. And then the rest of thousands game companies, either from China or even from the Western, they took only the rest of 12.57%. So yes, the Chinese company is very dominant. And how about the distributions? So before we already hear a lot of that, when you come to China, so Google Play is not there, and the Android stores are very fragmented. There's thousands of market stores, and iOS was actually pretty dominant before, but based our data from 2017 to 2018, the situation is actually slightly changing. So by downloads, iOS versus Android is actually 18 versus 72. So Android nowadays have more download, way more downloads by iOS. And the revenue is also changing, that the revenue on Android now dominate 55%. So when you now consider to have a lot of Western developers, when we talk about China, it's actually more easy to just take the game live when they launch the game on iOS. But actually, it's easy because you don't need to work with a Chinese publisher who will require a long list of localization. You don't need to wait for the ISBN. But at the same time, it also means that you lost 72% of the downloads and 55% share of the revenue. And who are the top 10 Android stars? So these top 10 Android stars, they took more than 87% of the share. And the 5 stars on the top, Oppo 360, My App by Tencent, Huawei, Baidu, they average take around 10% of the share. The last 5 Android stars like Vivo, 4399, QQ Browser, Xiaomi, and Wandojia, the average takes 4 to 6%. So if you want to to publish the games really well in China, these are the top 10 Android stores that you should consider, that you don't now need to integrate hundreds of SDKs, but at least these 10, which takes 80% of the market share. And what kind of games are really popular and making good money in China? So the top 10 grossing mobile games in the Q1 2019, the charts actually didn't change over the 3 years. And the only one new game which is launched in 2019 is actually just Perfect World Mobile, which is an MMORPG, is a mobile version of a PC game which has been operated in China for more than 10 years. It's developed by Perfect World, published by Tencent, and this is the only one game is new on this chart over the 3 years. And the game also have break a record that the game takes more than $100 million on the second day of commercial launch. So the number is insane. And then the rest of the games we can see, 5 games from Tencent, 4 games from NetEase, and only 1 game from Bilibili. And then you can't see other games here. So it's very dominated. And if we take a look at the genre, so it's all MOBA, MMORPG, SLG. So we can see that in the Chinese market, on the top grossing side, the market is very hardcore, and Chinese players can used to play these hardcores on mobile, but not on PC or console. And even we can see a racing game, QQ Speed Mobile by Tencent, and a music game, QQ Dance. This genre looks a bit more casual, but these games actually, they have been integrated with lots of multiplayer hardcore features in this game. So I won't say that they are casual games. So I have been thinking that, what are the opportunities left for the small developers? And if I can't work with Tencent, or if I I want to go to Chinese market, what are the opportunities left? My answer is creativity. And so I did a bit of analysis that, the games not published, the games are not from MOBA, the games are not from RPG, but the games, they can get revenue over 500 million RMB a year, or they can hit annual downloads over 10 million, but not from the traditional genres. In the past 3 years in China, and it's actually for the top games for new genres. So what kind of new genres have potential in the past? So we can see that Clash Royale, everyone knows from Supercell, it's a tweak of a tower defense and car games. And we can also see Omioji from NetEase, which is a LCG Japanese graphics, but combined with the traditional Summer Wars gameplays. And Love and Producer is from a Chinese studio. It's a game about love simulation that you play as a girl and you can date with 4 men. And the game went to top 10 grossings in China. And of course, PUBG and Travel Fork, which is developed by a Japanese indie studio, Hit Point, which is that you play the frog's mom and you need to raise your son, and the son loves go traveling. So it actually arouses lots of topics for discussion in China. And what's new in 2019? So I took 2 examples which the genres developed by the small studios in China, and they perform very well, attract lots of attention in China in this year. So the first one genre is interactive narrative movie. So back to 2015, Her Story is actually a very well-known indie games in the West and also won lots of international awards back then. But interactive narrative movie has never been popular in China before until this year. So Remember It is a game developed by Shenzhen Bayern Studio, which is a smart studio. The game is basically like you going through a movie. You need to solve the puzzles, and as long as the choice you choose in different episodes, it will lead you to different stories. And we launched the game in February this year. We hit 2.5 million downloads so far, so it's doing quite well. And the second genre I would like to talk about is auto chess. I think this is one of the genres that has been most often talked about in China, that everyone knows this year. So the small studio 巨鸟多多, they launched the Dota Auto Chess as a mode of Dota 2 in January this year, and within 10 days, it broke a record of took 100K. It took 1 million subscriptions as a mode, and over the PCU 100K in China just 10 days. And Dota 2's PCU in China is just 600K. So it's incredible. And because it got so immensely popular in China in such a short time, so within 3 months, actually you can see that every games in the market, or all the key players in the market, they start to make their own auto chess game. So in June, we now know that there is a Dota Underlords from Valve. NetEase have 2 games that launched the auto chess as its mode, and also thousands of smart studios. They are adding the auto chess as a mode or as an independent game to the market, just like Battle Royale. So you not only need to be creative, you not only need to be as new on the market as the first one, but also you need to be fast. Because for auto chess, it only took 3 to 6 months for all the players to launch the game. So in summary, these are the potential new things where I think that, it has potential to go big in China. First is new genres. The genres that already proven in other platforms like PC, but it's not big yet in mobile. Genres like multiplayer casual, simulation, pixel, roguelike, or RTS. And secondly is the touch-up potential, which means that the games, this genre already, there's already few of the games doing very well, perform well in China in this genre. But we believe that there potentially, if you could deliver, if there's a next good quality game, this genre, you could still earn some nice revenue. So these genres, for example, like survival game, Light After by NetEase, sandbox game, open world, and sim magical, narrative adventure, and games for female, like The Love Producer. And the third one is innovation. So either innovation in technology like AR games or other hack and slash, and all the genres that you have never seen before on the market, or hybrid genre that is a mix, like a certain genre mix a new genre and to create a new gameplay. So if you happen to have an innovative mobile game and want to publish in China, so Tencent nowadays have set the ACE publishing program, which mainly focus and help small studios to go to China. So not necessary that they will require lots of metrics, or you need to have a 200 people team to support for China, but we have the customized publishing program to work for small studios, and the studios can access to all Tencent's in-house operation and publishing skills, that if you're open to tweak your game to really fit with the Chinese market, we can provide a long list of the in-depth of localization plans, or otherwise we can just, to bring the original game and localize to the market. And secondly, we can use access to all Tencent's exclusive social network like Tencent's QQ, WeChat, and video, news, browser, everything to launch the game exclusively on Tencent network. And we also work with all the third-party partners. And last, we help with the ISP and technical support, user analysis. We do funding and customer MSDK, etc. So if you're interested, please feel free to talk with Tencent. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Thank you very much. And that was really great. No, thank you for sharing some data there, and it's really interesting to hear about the new genres that are working. Does anybody have a question? One quick question for Tencent? People are looking at me like confused while I'm asking questions. So you talked a little, I have one question, so I think it's only fair to ask a question. You talked about a lot of different kind of genres there, some of which, like the auto chess, are already being kind of copied and quite quickly. What is the most fresh, interesting genre that you've seen? Where you've already, what?
You mean new?
New, yeah, new style. Is there anything completely new that you've seen, like, since that presentation? or I don't know. What's the most exciting for you at the moment?
I would say, for me personally, outside that games for female.
Anyone?
Female, female games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Games for women. Fair enough. Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm going to let you get back to your seat now. Brilliant. Thank you. Round of applause again, please, for Miley. Fabulous.